Welcome back to the Basement Integrity Podcast by Reno.
Hey, everyone.
We are on episode 53 today. And just a quick shout out to our last deep dive, how to test your sump pump before spring floods. But today, we're jumping into a totally different scenario.
Yeah, a really frustrating one.
Oh, absolutely. Picture this. You walk downstairs into your perfectly clean basement. You do the routine check. You know, you inspect the corners, you scan the walls, look at the floor.
Right, looking for the usual suspects.
Exactly. And you find absolutely zero puddles, no leaks, no wet spots.
Which is great.
It is. Everything is bone dry.
Yeah.
And yet the moment you hit the bottom of the stairs, you're hit with this unmistakable, earthy, damp forest smell.
Ugh, it's the absolute worst. It really throws you off.
It really does. So today we are tackling this invisible threat, why your basement smells musty even when it looks dry. And we're pulling our insights directly from our internal Reno materials, specifically the research put together by Daniel P.
Yeah, Daniel is our residential waterproofing and drainage specialist, and his notes on this are just brilliant.
They really are. Okay, let's unpack this. How on earth is moisture getting inside the house if the concrete is solid and there is literally no standing water?
Well, to understand what's happening inside, you have to, look at the soil outside. Think about the earth around a normal foundation after a heavy rain.
Oh, it gets super heavy.
Exactly. That soil holds thousands of pounds of water, and it just presses directly against your foundation. That's hydrostatic pressure.
Right, but if my wall is solid concrete, no cracks at all, does that pressure even matter?
It does. I mean, we think of concrete as the solid rock, but on a microscopic level, it's basically a highly porous sponge.
Wait, a sponge?
Yeah, it's full of tiny little voids. So when you have that relentless pressure pushing against it, water just wicks up right through the footings on the walls.
Through capillary action. Wow.
You got it. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is why the moisture enters completely invisible to you. It travels through those tiny capillaries, never pools on the floor, and just evaporates straight into the air.
Oh, wow. So it's just damp air.
Yeah.
But if I walk outside on a humid July afternoon, it doesn't smell like a rotting basement.
No, definitely not.
So why does this invisible vapor smell so terrible?
Because the smell isn't the water. The smell is biological.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. When that moisture evaporates, it spikes the relative humidity. And the EPA notes that once your indoor humidity creeps past 60%, dormant mold spores wake up.
And they just start eating whatever they can find.
Exactly. Dust, paper backing on drywall, wood framing, and as they eat, they release volatile organic compounds, or VOCs.
Wait, really? So that musty smell is...
It's essentially mold off-gassing. Yeah. That VOC is what your nose is detecting.
Wow. Okay, so what does this all mean for the rest of the house? Because air moves.
It does, because of the stack effect. Think of your house like a giant chimney. Warm air rises and escapes out the top.
Right, creating like a vacuum effect at the bottom.
Yes, exactly. It pulls that cold, damp, VOC-filled basement air straight up into your main living spaces.
That is deeply unsettling. But if my basement looks totally clean, where are these microscopic colonies even hiding?
Well, what's fascinating here is that mold absolutely hates sunlight. So it thrives on the hidden backsides of your finished materials.
Oh, so like behind the drywall.
Yeah. Vapor condenses on the cold foundation and transfers right into the paper backing of the drywall. You might see peeling paint or, soft spots down near the baseboards.
Right. And what about flooring? Because Daniel's notes specifically mentioned laminate flooring.
Oh, laminate is a huge culprit. It creates this kind of greenhouse effect. It traps all that soil moisture right under the planks.
So you'd look for cupping floorboards, I guess.
Exactly. And we see it inside fiberglass insulation, too. It absorbs humidity and feeds on trapped dust,
leaving those gross pinkish or black stains.
You got it. And honestly, the HVAC ductwork is another big one. Cold metal ducts get covered in condensation, and mold just sets up shop right inside.
Okay, so obviously we can't just plug in an air freshener to fix this.
Oh no, masking the odor does absolutely nothing to stop the biological cycle. First step, you need to upgrade to a high-capacity, commercial-grade dehumidifier.
Right, not just some cheap unit from the hardware store.
Exactly. And you have to fix your exterior grading so downspouts push water way out from the foundation.
But what if a homeowner does all that and the smell is still there?
Then your home's natural defenses are just overwhelmed, and that's when you really need to call in our Reno team.
Here's where it gets really interesting. How do we even find the moisture if it's invisible?
We bring in advanced moisture meters and thermal imaging cameras.
Wait, thermal imaging for vapor?
Yeah. Evaporation cools things down. So the camera literally lets us see the cold spots where the invisible vapor is transmitting right through the wall.
That is so cool. And then we just install like internal drainage or heavy-duty vapor barriers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We physically isolate the living space from the damp earth, which permanently starves the mold.
Awesome. Okay, to sum this up for everyone listening, your nose isn't tricking you. A basement doesn't need to be actively flooding to suffer from severe moisture issues. Nature just always finds a way to push water vapor indoors.
It really does. And I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. Think about your HVAC system.
Oh boy.
The next time your furnace or AC kicks on and you feel that rush of air, ask yourself, what invisible VOCs from the damp earth below your foundation are hitching a ride through those ducts directly into your living room right now?
Ugh, that is terrifying, but it's exactly why you shouldn't ignore this. Protect your property value and your family's health, guys. Reach out to the Icerino team for a comprehensive moisture assessment. Thank you so much for joining us for this fast-paced deep dive.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.